Men, something as simple as having a cheat meal once a week or even twice a week can cause a lot of issues weeks down the line. And in this video, my promise is you're going to understand fully how detrimental of an effect simply having these cheat meals will have on your weight loss goals. I'm going to bring up examples from the longevity program, and hopefully you grasp some of the problems that you may run into if you have this intention of it's fine on a weekend or it's fine to have the odd cheat meal. So if that is something that you can find useful, then stick around. For those of you that are new to the channel, my name's Paul Green. I'm a former British paratrooper and Special Forces Support Group operator. Most of my time in the past decade, I have been in the gym training a lot of elite men across defence, including those in the RAF, the Royal Marines and the Parachute Regiment. One of the things that I've found, a very common occurrence, is men that are getting on a little bit, 40, 45-year-old, 50-year-old, are the strongest, the fittest, and the most athletic. They have to be. When they're in these leadership positions, they have to have the physical stuff completely ticked off to allow them to problem solve, lead, and think intelligently in high pressure situations. Nowadays, I've taken everything that I've learned from that concept and I bring it into the longevity program, which is a strength and conditioning service for men over the age of 40, where I build strength, joint resilience, and athleticism regardless of age, right? So that's the longevity program, that's me, and this is the plan for today's video. We're going to talk about the purpose of a meal plan, right? Just to remind you the purpose of a meal plan. And I'll touch on the purpose of a cheat meal, right? What happens when you have one cheat meal? What changes? What happens when you have two cheat meals? What changes? And again, understand what it takes to become the man that you want to become. That sounds alright. Get yourself comfortable. I reckon 13 minutes. I will have stopped talking and you will have learned something extremely useful. Right. Purpose of your meal plan, right? Lose body fat. Gain as much muscle as possible. Recovery and hunger levels. So you will have done a calorie calculator. You will have forecasted a time duration for you to achieve a certain body fat percentage based off your current situation. Absolutely cool. However, it's not just about losing body fat, because you can kill two birds with one stone. You can actually hold on to or gain muscle when you are losing fat. And the way you do that is allocating a decent amount of carbohydrates before and after your training sessions to fuel high intensity training sessions, especially with strength training. It's possible, and this is the way I do it on my meal plans. But it also has to fuel recovery, so then you recover from your training sessions, making sure you get good sleep, and it also has to keep hunger levels at bay. If hunger levels are not at bay, you're going to fall flat on your face. So if any of these don't happen, if you don't lose body fat after doing it for a few weeks, or if you're doing it for a couple of months, if you're not losing any body fat, you're going to stop. If you don't have any decent muscle tissue to show for your hard work, you're probably going to stop. If your recovery is absolutely terrible, you're probably going to stop. If you're always hungry, you're probably going to stop. So understanding these as the fundamentals of any successful or any effective meal plan is really important. So I'll bring that to life early in this video so then we can make it relevant to cheat meals. Right, I'm going to show you some examples, right, of bringing in cheat meals and how your meal plan would change to allow them cheat meals, and then the caveats of that. But before I even get into cheat meals, I'm going to just talk about cheat meals for a bit. So, why do you need a cheat meal? What is a cheat meal? What is a cheat meal? A cheat meal usually is you going and enjoying the taste, the amount of calories, the fats, the protein, the carbs, some really bad, unhealthy foods. And it usually has a massive link with emotions. You know, these foods feel good to eat. They don't necessarily make you feel good for a couple of hours after. They don't really fuel any of the purposes of your meal plan. They just make your feelings for the duration of you consuming that food, and maybe half an hour afterwards, you feel great. Right? We're going to talk about the differences of these. Normal, 1 cheat meal, 2 cheat meals. But think about what a cheat meal actually is. In, a world of high performance and high performance training programs and high performance meal plans, a cheat meal could be used to just somebody that is in such a bad way, they've been training hard for 12, 16 weeks, and they're on a huge calorie deficit. Instead of giving them the cheat meal, I would just up their calories to maintenance for a couple of weeks, and then I'd go back into the deficit which they were at again. 1 cheat meal doesn't really do it a lot other than mess up the numbers. Men with a long-term vision have to have numbers at the forefront of their mind, not emotions. It's like the stock market. If you're investing in the stock market and you've got a 10-year, 20-year, 30-year time frame, emotions aren't in that equation. However, if you're a day trader who's like a crack addict, thinking about every millisecond of ups and downs and time in the market, literally with rattling with excitement, it's the same thing. Short-term things, emotions, unproductive for us men. Getting rid of them is a very useful thing to have. Right, that's enough on cheat meals. However, I'm going to bring up the numbers because the numbers are extremely important. So, we're in. And this is my app, and this is where I prescribe meal plans and training programs and the likes on my coaching platform. Anyway, what you can see here is numbers at the top right. You can see daily total, 2,314 calories, 71 grams of protein, 250 carbs, 50 grams of fat. Just a basic meal plan, right? Nothing fancy going on here, no funny business. But the intention of this video is to just bring to life what needs to happen to facilitate your 1 cheat meal. You know what I mean? So, we have meal 1, oats, mixed berries, protein powder. Just have a quick scan of the doses of them and how they change with the cheat meals coming in. And a reminder of the purposes of a meal plan. It fuels high performance in the gym, actually helps you to achieve your weight loss and fat loss goals, helps with recovery because you're getting the right amount of protein in, and it also helps hold on to as much muscle mass as possible. So we have all of these meals, and all of the amounts in which are prescribed are extremely important to you achieving them goals. Now there is room for a little bit of a treat, just to keep your emotions at bay. Like, I get it, we are humans, right? And to be honest, at the start of a lot of my meal plans, I do like to throw this one in at the end of the day. You've had a boring meal plan, boring but effective. Boring is usually effective. You'll hear that a lot on my channel. But sometimes you can throw a relatively healthy treat in the mix as well, just to calm the emotions down. So that's the first meal plan. That's the normal one, yeah? And a normal meal plan, what it allows is it keeps you on that path to achieve your goals. It's boring but effective. And palatability. If what you're eating is so tasty and so amazing, you're going to want more of it. A lot of these foods, this is with water, it's going to take a little bit longer to eat. It's going to fill you up. It's going to bore you. It's going to make you feel just miserable. There's an actual beauty to that, especially when you're having to eat mixed veg for 10 weeks. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't make you excited. The food has purpose, and the purpose is not to satisfy your emotions. Right, so look at this number, 2314. One cheat meal of 1,316 calories, the meal plan has to change by 200 calories per day. Yeah? And what happens is, the first thing that would go in that scenario would mean you're no longer having that you're no longer having that dark chocolate at the end of the day, and I would shave off some of the fats or carbohydrates from the meals away from your training sessions. And that would free up one cheat meal per day. One cheat meal per week of 1,300 calories. So if you think that sounds like a worthy investment, then absolutely fine. But we're going to 2. You want 2 cheat meals per day, one on a Saturday, one on a Sunday, then your daily calories is going down to 1,885. You're going to reduce pretty much your oats, you're going to reduce your fats, and you're going to reduce everything pretty much other than the carbs that surround your training sessions. Remember, the carbs around the training sessions are very important to fueling high performance. Does this make sense? Right, so you're probably thinking, fucking hell, that sounds like a really good idea. Now, this is you on week 1. These are you on week 1. However, we're going to go into what happens next. Right, wait there, 1 second. So you've seen the differences, right? You have to reduce the calories by about 200 per day to facilitate one display of emotional self-indulgence. And another 200 on top of that for cheat meal number 2. So we're going to go into the problems of this. You're going to get to a certain week of your meal plan, your training plan, where you no longer lose body fat. You don't lose weight. Your scale weights, in which you should be doing every day, do not go down. So what's your first thing that you would do in that scenario if your scale weight doesn't go down? You would probably start looking at reducing food. Well, you've already started reducing food to facilitate your cheat meals. So you would have to reduce food further in order to keep your cheat meals there. And think about it, 1,800 calories for a man that doesn't want to be hungry all day, wants to recover from the training sessions, wants to perform at a high standard in the gym, and wants to keep and build muscle tissue. It's not going to happen, lads. I swear to God, it's not going to happen. You need to keep food as high as possible with a slight deficit under your maintenance calories. Be active, and then all of these things will be in the right place. If you need to starve yourself to facilitate 2 cheat meals or 1 cheat meal on a weekend throughout the week, then you'll probably end up being more miserable than you would if you just ate more of the healthier stuff. Do you know what I mean? You've just got to think, what is the purpose of the meal plan? Think the bigger picture. Don't think about a little emotional splurge of hormones on a plate. Is that serving your body? Is that serving the bigger mission, the longer term vision. And most of the time, it isn't. So just to wrap this up, right? If your food is as high as possible, while being in a slight deficit, you have the ability to increase the steps, increase cardio, maybe even add a training session into your weekly schedule. You have the ability to do that if your food is high, because you're going to be performing at a high standard in the gym. You're going to have the energy, you're going to be able to recover, and you're going to be sleeping well, and your hunger levels are going to be up there. Eventually, you will have the ability, because you've put your calories as high as possible while still being in a deficit, you have the ability to reduce food when you plateau. When you have reduced food early parts of the meal plan to facilitate cheat meals, you don't have that luxury later on in the game, 8 weeks down the line, when you're not getting any results anymore. So what are you going to do? You're going to have to get rid of your cheat meal. And you should have just got rid of it anyway. You would have lost a lot more weight. Anyway, I've already talked about this. The long-term vision is a logical process. It's very simple. 2 paths. High performance training plan, high performance meal plan. 2 paths. Numbers that flow throughout. However, we are humans. And if you don't stay on them 2 paths, things start getting a little bit messy. If it's boring, it's probably very effective. And this goes for any endeavor in your life. It's the boring stuff that has the greatest compounding influence long term. And it's the stuff that's exciting, the stuff that's short lasted, that doesn't have any long term value. So at the start of your meal plan, you can probably expect for the first couple of weeks, you and your mind will transition from that emotional short-term person to food is fuel. This is the food that I need to eat in order to fuel my performance in the training room and recovery. You are eating everything to get to your goals. As soon as you start straying off from that, weird things start to happen. Gentlemen, 17 minutes 50, 18 minutes. Hopefully you appreciate that video. Very passionate subject of mine. And that's it from me. If you enjoyed the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you tomorrow.